Dear friends, thank you for joining me today as we reflect together on Mark chapter 8 verses 27 to 38. Mark's Gospel describes the beginning of the journey to the cross, including Jesus' second great temptation. We also read shortly before this about Peter's confident proclamation of Jesus as the Messiah. You would think that this was a moment of triumph. Peter had suddenly seen the light, you would think. But we realize that he had not yet understood what had been revealed to him. Immediately after Peter's announcement, Jesus began to predict his death. This was too much for Peter, who thought he knew what the Messiah would do and what the Messiah would be, and so he, rather patronizingly, tried to correct Jesus, almost like an older brother pointing out his younger sibling's foolishness. Friends, how often do we react like Peter? We speak before we take time to reflect, sometimes in a rather patronizing, condescending, and foolish way. Would you please reflect on this question, on your own or with someone? What can be the consequences of reacting without taking time to think before you speak? Jesus' response was strong and surprising. He called Peter Satan, not because he was judging Peter, but because at that moment Peter had become a tempter who was trying to tempt Jesus away from his purpose. And sometimes, friends, it's important to be honest and direct like Jesus here. Doing that creates boundaries, protecting you from abuse. Where do you need to draw a line? Honestly telling people what their behavior is doing to you. Now, this is difficult work, which may require talking to someone that can help you find the best possible way to do it. When I have to do that, it certainly requires a lot of deep thinking and prayer. Jesus followed this up with a conversation about losing life in order to find it. Joseph Campbell, the scholar of mythology and culture, is famous for saying we must be willing to let go of the life we planned so as to have the life that is waiting for us. This is very similar to the words of Jesus in today's reading. Although he had recognized that Jesus was the Messiah, Peter had not yet realized that Jesus was a different kind of Messiah, a dying Messiah. Peter rebuked Jesus for predicting his death because he had not yet released the life he planned, the life of being a leader in the new order that a victorious Messiah would bring. Jesus, however, my friends, has a different agenda. We must lose our lives, sometimes giving up our own dreams, expectations, desires, and self-preservation in order to embrace the self-giving, abundant life of God's reign. You cannot enter a new world if you're not willing to leave the old one. That's why when we try to save our lives built on self-preservation, power, wealth, and immediate gratification, we end up losing the true life that God offers. But friends, if we are willing to release the life we have, maybe it's someone I need to forgive or someone I need to seek forgiveness from, we are able to enter the life of God and discover abundance, vibrant life in sharing, peacemaking, justice bringing, and loving. For us as a family, indeed, having left so much behind 7 years ago, this is certainly true. But also, friends, it meant gaining a new family and a fullness of life that cannot be described in words. While we naturally seek to avoid what is painful and stressful, it's in failure that we learn. It is sometimes in suffering that we find healing. It's in the crosses we take up that we find the wholeness and the joy of resurrection. Friends, can I ask you now to sit quietly and reflect on this question? How can I commit to leaving some things in my life behind so that I can find the life of God in more fullness.